Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to dust off the top hats and tails because Royal Ascot is on the horizon and we have 8 superb Champions Series races coming your way. And in the build-up to an excellent 5 days of racing, we've sent the cameras out and about to get all the very latest news and views ahead of one of the racing calendar's huge fixtures.
So let's have a look at the lineup for the latest series of races in the QIPCO British Champions Series.
We're going to look ahead to all of those races over the next half an hour or so, but there is also a real focus on international runners here at Royal Ascot, and with that in mind, I've taken a look at how the international challengers are settling in to life in the UK.
And we'll hear from trainer Michael Dodds, who sends to Royal Ascot an angel from the north. We'll assess her chances in the King's Stand.
Now, for those that saw the last QIPCO British Champions Series preview at Epsom, you would have seen that Chris, remarkably, won the Platting Challenge. Well, later on, find out who wins Challenge 2.
Oh. But let's kick off by having a look back at the Derby meeting at Epsom.
And they're off and racing. A barging match on the inside is together forever. Cleans up diamonds and rubies. Whilst that's happening, Legitissimo has struck for home in the Oaks. In second place, Qualify for a huge shot on the inside. Legitissimo, Qualify, unbelievably, is coming. Legitissimo narrowly, heads up, heads down, and possibly a mighty shot.
They're just over a furlong out, and Dolnaya has still got a 2-length advantage over Flintshire, who's trying in second. Back towards the inside, we got Featherspoon. Dolnaya, Featherspoon off the rail. He's coming charging into the closing stages, and Featherspoon drawing to the Judge Vincent.
Golden Horn now begins to run at his stable companion. Golden Horn and Jack Hobbs, the 8 intense moments in the Derby, and Golden Horn looks like putting it to bed. Jack Hobbs trying to stay in the game, tightened up, and it is Golden Horn driven out, remains unbeaten. Golden Horn won the Derby.
Well, some wonderful memories there, and undoubtedly the highlight from Epsom was a second Investec Derby for jockey Frankie Dettori, teaming up with John Gosden on the market leader Golden Horn. What a derby it was, what a performance it was, and what scenes afterwards as well with Frankie landing it again. It was a remarkable day and a privilege to be there, Chris. Yeah,
it was a brilliant performance, wasn't it, from Golden Horn? The question mark, as we discussed beforehand, was would he stay, but there was encouragement in that pedigree that he would, and he answered those questions without any doubt at all, really, and it was very impressive the way that he went about it, and it looks like a really solid performance. The progressive Jack Hobbs in second, a very solid looking horse in Storm the Stars back in third, but more than what a derby for Frankie, what a derby for John Gosden with a 1-2.
True, John Gosden, Newmarket handler, his second derby as well, following the success of Benny the Dip in 1997. Epsom was brilliant. It provided us with some great scenes and some great racing, and over the next 5 days or so we're going to be treated to some superb racing. It really is a vintage Royal Ascot in 2015, so without further ado, let's kick on, and we start by taking a look at a stellar renewal of the Queen Anne. It's going to be a great start to the meeting with the Queen Anne, Chris, and fascinating really because we've got such a strong international challenge in this race in 2015. And also, as well, a really sort of strong hand from the local runners as well, which is what makes the race so interesting. If we can, let's break it into 2 groups. Let's have the international challengers and the local challengers, and we'll start with the international raiders, the likes of Abel Friend, the likes of Solo. These are top class horses, and they bring a real good feel to the race already.
Yeah, they do. Both of them extremely exciting, extremely progressive and consistent as well. Each of them have won their last 6 starts. Abel Friend has won 4 Group 1s recently, so he's definitely an exciting prospect. The key to his chances is that form going to travel, I suppose, and is he going to be able to reproduce that form having travelled for the first time? It's something different for him. All of his form on a right-handed turning mile. This is going to be a stiffer test for him, but he oozes class, this horse. The way that he travels, he tends to be dropped in, but he settles well. And what he's got is a real lightning turn of foot. I've been really impressed with him. and I think that he is the horse to beat. Solo has probably got a little bit more stamina. Group 1 wins on his last 2 starts have been over 9 furlongs. He also has that turn of foot, but I don't think it's quite so sharp as the one that Able Friend is able to deploy.
So that's the international challenge. Where do the local runners fit it into the equation, in your opinion? The likes of Knight of Thunder, the Lockinge winner at the start of the season.
Well, that's the key piece of form, isn't it? The Lockinge, the 1-2 from that race are going to be going head-to-head, probably the third as well. So that is the key piece of form, Group 1 form in this country. Knight of Thunder, Tourmore, the key horses from it, I think. Knight of Thunder and Tourmore have met 4 times in their careers to this point. Of course, the stablemates as well. Knight of Thunder is 4-0 up at this point, so I think he will confirm that form. But I think that the Queen Anne might be going to foreign shores and hopefully to Hong Kong.
Able Friend, a fascinating runner. Promises to be a great start to what is an excellent 5 days. Without further ado, let's take a look at this year's Queen Anne contenders.
Able Friend looming up quickly, went straight past Luger, then Real Specialist and Rewarding Hero, Secret Sham, Dan Excel, joined by Able Friend. He's under a half Nelson here, and it's the Magic Man racing away on this truly magical thoroughbred. Able Friend going to win the Champions Mile in an absolute hand canter.
Solo letting down now, quickly moves up. Solo runs to the lead from Earnshaw. The Grey Gatsby is running on, but Solo has pinched a break, and it is a winning break. The Dubai Turf goes to France, and Solo walks it in.
Next up, let's turn our attentions to the St James's Palace, and undoubtedly in the form of Glen Eagles, based on his victory in both the English 2,000 guineas and Irish 2,000 guineas. He is the standout horse in this race, and the rest are going to have to go some to knock him off the perch.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, impressive at Newmarket, less so, I think, at the Curragh, but a lot went wrong for him in that race, and I really like the way that he showed a likeable attitude and had to tough it out to gain a Guineas double. He's beaten most of the key contenders, and once again, he's going to be very hard to beat.
Is there any of the horses who haven't raced him, I should say, haven't raced him before, that you can see sort of lowering his colours?
Well, they're the horses that you're looking for if there is something that hasn't had a go, because I don't really see those that he's beaten already being able to reverse the form. Make Believe, the French Guineas winner, he could be a contender having been supplemented. And what about Consort, who's 2 from 2 at this stage for Sir Michael Stout? He looked pretty good when winning at Sandown.
I was really impressed by him. Winner for you, Glen Eagles?
I think Glen Eagles going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, agreed. Glen Eagles, hard to beat, is our opinion in the St James's Palace. Now, as Chris mentioned a little bit earlier on, one of the sprinters that has already lit up the sprinting division this season is trained up north by Michael Dodds, and we sent Tom O'Ryan to the stables to find out a little bit more.
Michael, you're going down to Royal Ascot with not Charlie's Angels, but Michael's Angels, because first of all, Mecca's Angel, she's never stopped improving, Michael. Good 2-year-old, even better 3-year-old, and looking an even better 4-year-old.
Yeah, we've always thought a lot of her. She's been held very highly by Paul and myself and Mecca that owns her as well. But it's great to go to Ascot with proper horses that have serious chances, and it's not very often you can do that. We've had runners at Ascot before that have had a squeak, but we've never had anything with as strong chance as these two.
With Mecca's Angel, is it purely natural ability with her?
Yeah, it's natural, but the great thing for Paul is that she can go pretty quick in a race early on. She doesn't have to have cover. He can put her where he wants to put her, but then she's got another gear. So from a furlong and a half, 2 furlongs out, she's already going pretty quick, and then she quickens again. And to me, that's a sign of a very, very good sprinter.
And do you feel in all ways, physically and mentally, she has matured as she's got older?
She has. I mean, she's always been pretty straightforward, but temperament-wise, she's grown up a lot. You can see her walking around the stalls at the races and in a race, and she'll just stand and look round, and then but once she's in that stall, she knows that she's there for a job, and she's improving, and I think she's improved again since the run in France. So we're quite excited. Just let's hope we get a bit of nice ground.
Mecca's Angel, a key player, but what's interesting about this division, Chris, is that you can make a case for a number of these. A lot of these have locked horns before, and they sort of win their races in turn. Once again, we're faced with an open-looking race.
Yeah, the dominant force in recent years in the sprint division, particularly in the King's Stand, has been Soul Power. He's won the race for the last 2 years. He's an out-and-out 5-furlong horse, so I think you can expect him to do better than he did in Ireland last time out, when it was easier ground than ideal over a 6 furlongs trip. So that's probably a run to scratch from his point of view, better judged on the Al cause and indeed his previous efforts. But he is 8 years of age now, so maybe there's a chance that something new on the block can get involved. And Mecca's Angel is definitely one of those. She's very quick, she's thoroughly progressive. Had to be impressed with her at Longchamp last time out, when I think she lowered the track record as well. So she looks an interesting one, but I think Muthmere for William Haggis might just be the horse to beat. Another really progressive horse who won in France last time.
What's interesting as well about the sprint division is the number of international raiders. We've seen Choisir take over Target, Black Caviar to name but a few. And this year as well, there's a new race on the programme. It's the Commonwealth Cup, and it's a race, a Group 1 sprint, for 3-year-olds and 3-year-olds only. And once again, we've got a lot of international raiders in the 3 sprint races over the course of the 5 days. Yeah,
in terms of the Commonwealth Cup, the key international horse is going to be Hootenanny, who won at Royal Ascot last year. Very impressive, of course, as well as a 2-year-old. And his trainer, Wesley Ward, has done very well whenever he's sent runners to Royal Ascot in the past. So he's a really intriguing runner. Henry Candy has a good hand as well with Lamato. He was beaten by Adair last time out, but he was like the sprinting star amongst the 3-year-olds going into Haydock, and a big shock when he got turned over. Maybe the ground was a little bit too soft for him that day, so he should probably do a little bit better. You've got other ones in there, the likes of Tiggy Wiggy and Anthem Alexander, the 2 fillies, first and second in last year's Queen Mary. A new addition to the Royal Ascot programme, the Commonwealth Cup, but what an addition and what a race. Probably one of the races I'm looking forward to more than any in the week.
The Commonwealth Cup, certainly a welcome addition. The King's Stand, the Commonwealth Cup and the Diamond Jubilee are going to be fast and furious, the sprint races that will light up Royal Ascot next week.
Well, if you were watching last week, you'd have seen that I went 1-0 up in the challenges between myself and Ollie, being the better platter of a horse.
This week, though, it's a golfing challenge. And given that the man on my left, Chris, has never played golf before, surely I have to win this one. So for this challenge, we have come to the lawn of trainer Michael Bell at Fitzroy House in Newmarket for a golfing challenge. And the idea is to get one of these. It's a chipping challenge, effectively. Get one of these into the top hat placed at the end of the lawn. I'm on home turf. I also have played golf in the past, whereas Chris is away from Hull and has never played golf before. So I should be winning this. How confident are you?
Not very.
But you're 1-0 up from the Platin Challenge last week. So the idea is that I'm going to have as many goes as it takes to get it in there, and you're going to have to try and better it.
You've had about 80 goes warming up. I've not had any yet, but I don't want to fluke one when it doesn't count.
You are going to fluke.
Let's go.
Good luck. Please go in first.
Don't hit me.
Ready? That's awful. That was awful as well.
5.
In 5.
Can you straighten the hat up, please?
Good luck. 5 to beat.
That's a bit hard.
I'm in a dangerous place here. You've got to get it in this one to win.
Oh.
This last one.
That means you've won.
1-1.
Well done.
Till next time.
Yes.
Next up, we're turning our attentions to the Prince of Wales' stakes, and there's a star from the US of A lining up who's hoping to earn his stripes in the UK.
He's a great traveller. He's done so much of it now that he doesn't really get bothered by the travel.
Now the build-up to Royal Ascot. Why didn't you run in the Lockinge at Newbury? Did you decide
he just wasn't ready.
Yeah,
he wasn't ready for that race. It was a little too quick, and like I said, he had lost a lot of weight after Dubai, and he was a little knocked out. He slept for about 2 weeks after that when he got here.
I know he's won on turf. He won on turf at Hollywood, which must look a little bit different to the Ascot turf. Is he as good on turf as he is on a dirt surface, do you think?
It's hard to say. He only ran on the turf once, and he won by a few lengths. Mind you, it wasn't the best field in the world, but he seemed to handle the turf good. But like you said, it was more like a putting green than a turf course there.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, you know, when he gets on if he's on soft ground. If it's like it is today, he'll be firm and he'll handle it great. He's never been on a soft turf, so it's yet to be seen.
You probably think he wouldn't want too much rain. Would you say that's fair enough?
Yeah, I'd rather it not. Yeah.
Frankie, nice spin round on California Chrome. Your first time on a Kentucky Derby winner then?
I can tell my grandchildren one day that I rode the Kentucky Derby winner, only in the mornings.
Yeah, how did he feel?
He felt good. Yeah, his skin is nice, he was very relaxed. I mean, the whole idea today is to get him at full speed round the bend to emulate the Prince of Wales. Coming into the bend, it took him by surprise by going to his right lead. He cornered really well. And, you know, he's pretty idle in the straight, but I was told that he's an idle worker, but he needs no introduction. We know how good he is. Yeah. But the whole purpose of this morning is make sure that he comes to Royal Ascot, he knows which way to turn, not left, but right.
California Chrome is another fascinating international runner, and he's a wonderful story. He won the Derby, the Kentucky Derby in America. He's not the most fashionably bred. He's sort of risen to the top from the bottom, and the California Chrome fairy tale continues at Royal Ascot. Has he got a chance of winning it, and how strong a chance is it that he has?
Well, if he can reproduce his dirt form on the grass at Ascot, then he's definitely going to be a contender. He didn't just win the Kentucky Derby last year. He followed up in the Preakness. He couldn't quite pull off the American Triple Crown, but he's clearly a high-class horse. He was better than the bare result, I think, in the Dubai World Cup last time out. He was forced wide on the turns. He was up with a very strong pace, but he's got to prove himself on turf. Yes, he won at Del Mar on the grass in America, but that was below the very best of his dirt form, so there is just a little bit of a query there. And
he's taking on some proper high-class, proven performers under these conditions, the European raiders. Which horses sort of caught your eye on the list?
Well, from Europe, there's definitely QIPCO, I think, who comes over from France. He suffered his first defeat since his debut when beaten in the Arc last year, but that wasn't really his running. It was too bad to be true. I think if you judge him on his impressive Prix Niel win the time before, then he would be a major player, and he's the one that I like most in this race. The Free Eagle from Ireland for Dermot Weld, a thoroughly progressive horse. He ran very well on ground too soft for him on Champions Day last year in the Champion Stakes, and if he lines up, he'll be a major player as well.
Good stuff. That is the Prince of Wales' Stakes. Next up, the race we're going to take a look at is the Gold Cup. But before we do that, we're going to check in with one of the jockeys who will be riding at Royal Ascot over the space of the 5 days, and that is Qatar's jockey, Oisin Murphy.
Hot streak in the last season's Temple Stakes at Haydock. Kieran Fallon. Billy Toomey. He is from Cork in Ireland, which is only down the road from me, and he's, I suppose, you get stylish jockeys, but you get stylish riders, show jumping as well, and he's very stylish. Getting stressed out over nothing. I look at racing admin 24 hours a day. Tom Cruise. Trev. To ride as well as I can.
Time to focus now on the blue ribbon of the 5 days. It is the Gold Cup, and a wonderful roll of honour in this race. So much history involved. And once again, we've got a really good lineup for this race.
It looks wide open, Ollie. There are question marks against several of the key contenders as regards ground and stamina concerns. Forgotten rules, will the ground be too quick for him? Likewise, Tac de Brastron. It remains to be seen whether they'll even take their chance. The horse I thought was one of the most interesting ones in there was Bahiron, who comes over from France. A horse who's got some very strong form lines in France. I think a lot of the key form lines actually for the Gold Cup took place in France. Runs for such as Alex My Boy, High Jinks, who's a British horse who has been winning in France. Those are some of the key contenders. The British Challenge, I think, might be headed by Mizu, who's really progressive for Luca Kamani, and I think he will be suited by the extra distance.
One of the sort of stories of the last 12, 14 months in this country has been the sort of the improvement and progression that Clever Cookie has been able to show, and it would just be a complete fairy tale for Peter Niven and his relatively small string of horses if he was to land a big one.
Very much so. I mean, he won the Ormond and he beat a proper Group 1 stayer in Tact of Brastron. Yes, he was getting weight at Chester that day, but he beat him, and he beat him fair and square. And then he's come out at York on a faster surface and followed up in really taking fashion, travelling through that race very, very strongly. So he continues to progress, and what a story should he win.
It's the highlight of the 5 days. It is going to be a race to savour. And now for the final race we're going to take a look at. It is the fillies' time to shine on the Friday in the Coronation. And as we sort of keep saying in these races, when you look at the fields, you realise just what a treat we're in, because again we've got an excellent lineup in this race.
We've got the form of each of the guineas, the big guineas in Europe represented. The Irish guineas by Found, who was maybe a shade unlucky in second. The Newmarket, the English guineas runner-up in Lucida, finished second there, of course, and then the French guineas winner in the field as well. So all of those form lines are represented, and it's Aveda, who won the French guineas, who I'm going to take as the winner of this race. I think she looks really progressive, and I was impressed by her in France.
She did really well to pick up late on, and she showed a good turn of foot. She's a high-class individual. That is going to be a great race, as are all the races we've touched on recently in this show. Just before we go, I just want you to give us a couple of horses that you think we should follow or side with over the course of the 5 days.
Well, I like the look of Muthmere. Whichever sprint he lines up in, I would prefer the King's Stand. I think he would be a real horse to beat in the sprint division. I think he looks really, really good for William Haggas. He would be just about top of my list from the horses that we've discussed, and really looking forward to seeing Airville Friend. So those two.
Excellent stuff. Chris, many thanks for all your help throughout the course of the last half hour or so, and thank you very much for watching. Sit back, enjoy 5 days of superb racing coming your way from Royal Ascot. Next up, you'll see us as we build up to Goodwood.